everyone, and welcome to the Pocket of Wisdom podcast on King Canvas. Over here, we believe that everyone has a pocket of wisdom to offer, and that includes you as well. And on this podcast, I plan to invite people from all walks of life to share their experiences and practical tips for everyday life and to have conversations on important subject matters. And you know how some people, they would save the best for last, but today I'm giving you my best guest first because today I have with me Mr. Christopher Raj, and he is the former Vice President of the Malaysian Employers Federation, the President of the Association of Hotel Employers, Area Director of Human Resource at Shangri-La, member of the National Labour Advisory Council, Director of the MEF Academy, author of the book Chronicles with God, and most importantly, he is also my father. So Dad, how are you today?
I'm very good, thank you.
You went to have lunch with Philo Ate today,
Yeah,
right?
I had
Was it a good meal?
home-cooked food, so very good. I love home-cooked food, yeah.
Yeah, so you're all ready to share your experiences today?
Absolutely. It's a privilege to do so.
That's great. So today, our discussion will be about you're a fruit of your decisions, right?
Absolutely. You are definitely a fruit of your decision. Every day, we all make decisions on, our day-to-day things that happens in our life. And of course, whatever decision that we make, it's based on your value system. It's based on your past experience. As the saying goes, you're sometimes conditioned by your past experience.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to be very careful.
That's very true. And that the reason why I wanted to have this conversation with you is because of two reasons. First, you are at the age of retirement. You have worked 38 years. You have worked your whole life. And right now, you are almost at the end of that journey. And secondly, you also actually have a really interesting childhood story that not a lot of people know about. So that if you can and if you may, can you share with us how did you grow up?
Yes, I have a very interesting childhood experience not many of you know about. Just to let you all know, from the age of 9, actually my father sent the whole family to India. And I grew up actually after 2 years. Of course, my family came back, and so I grew up actually in a boarding school from the age of 9 right up to the age of 24. And it's a very interesting story. It's because I grew up being in a Jesuit institution. The school that I went is called St. Joseph's High School, and the university that I attended is also called St. Joseph's College. And of course, it's under the Bangalore University. So all these years, my study years, as far as India is concerned, is being in a Jesuit institution.
Right. And it was only you and your older brother.
That's correct, yeah. Me and my elder brother, but as I told you, we were very young. When I was 9, he was 11, and
And so your whole family, our whole family was back here, and it's only the both of you who would have to travel all the way there to study.
That's right. It took me, just to let you all know, when I went to India, we had to travel by ship, by SS Rajula. It takes 7 days in the ocean.
7 days in the
ocean. And imagine a 9-year-old boy, traveling in the ocean for 7 days with another brother who's only 11 years old, and going from one port to another port. And I tell you, it was not an easy experience. It was and of course, when I recall now, I feel proud that I went through it, but it was not easy going through that experience.
How did you feel as a 9-year-old boy on that ship?
Oh my God!
As you left the shore with grandfather probably waving at you.
Let me tell you, I probably would have cried for 3 days in the ship, because I miss my dad, and so young, and going to another strange land, and in the sense that, of course, loneliness, scared, you're young and you don't know what to expect. But then when I look at it, of course, after all these years, that's what made me strong. That's what made me who I am today. So,
Did you expect, did you know that you were going to go overseas with your brother to study?
of course, I know because I said we come back every 2 years.
Right,
in this
right.
year, 9 years when I was 9, and then when I reached 24, I mean in India. But every 2 years we come back, so I have to go back again. So of course I knew I was going back to the same college or high school where I came from, and so it was not. I mean, can you imagine? The school holidays is probably only about 1.5 months.
Right.
And in that 14 days are gone in the ship. I mean, traveling to Malaysia for 7 days.
Wow.
Traveling back to India is another 14 days. So my another 7 days. So out of the 1.5 months, half a month is gone in you traveling in the ocean.
That's so true.
So it's not a pleasant experience. But of course, at that time it was not pleasant. But when I reflect back, of course, that made me what I am today. So yeah, it was not a very good experience in terms of living your parents.
That is really interesting. And so, Dad, how were you as a student in your school?
You need to understand that when you're 9 years old or 11 years old, growing up away from your parents, one of the things that you develop is the survival instinct.
Right.
In the sense that there is nobody there. You can't go and run to your mother in the evening. Oh, somebody did something to me in school today. That you can cry back and go. You cannot. You have to take that experience. You have to. You there was nobody there to help you. So automatically, what happens is that you develop a survival instinct inside of you. That you have to be an overcomer. That what that did to me is that it made me a strong person. And if you look at my school history and even my college history, I automatically developed a leadership quality inside of me because of the survival instinct. So when I was in school, I was the greenhouse leader. Athletically, I was the runner for the school. I was playing football for the school, representing the school in football, and and I was doing all kind of things. And even when I went to college, from my pre-university right until I finished my degree, my degree was in a co-education college, and I was elected the student leader every year without fail. I was the leader in my pre-university. When I go into college, I was the leader. Even in my high school, I was a high school leader. In the boarding place itself, I was a prefect. Telling people to kneel down if they did something wrong and they're making noise.
The punishment was kneel down?
Yeah, kneel down in front of next to the priest, and if you, because you do something. So it made me a survivor on my own, and because of that, I think I developed that leadership quality inside of me because I had to be strong.
That is really interesting to learn, because it shows that it was because you were placed in an uncomfortable environment. You were sort of placed in a position where you had to start to learn how to take care of yourself. And you knew that you could not really rely on anyone else. And you needed to step up in that situation to be able to help yourself, to develop yourself even in school. Is that
absolutely
right?
So that's what I was not an intelligent student, let me tell you. I was not. But I have other leadership qualities. I had other, I was always excelling in co-curricular activities, where somehow I get elected to be a leader, leading people in the sports activities, or even in other activities. Like for example, every 2 years once is when we come back to Malaysia.
Right.
So. But you have holidays, right? In a year you have so many school breaks.
Yeah.
And so I had no choice. I had no place to go. And, of course, we had a guardian there and whatsoever. But most of the time that I was spending my time in the boarding school itself.
Yeah.
And this is where the other things that kind of changed my way of thinking as well. I was involved with the Jesuit fathers. They call
Right.
them in the Catholic Church.
Can you explain just a little bit for our listeners in case you don't understand what's
Yeah.
Jesuit?
Okay, Jesuits is actually a Catholic institution.
Right,
Okay, Catholic
okay.
institution where, all the Catholics, they go to the church, right?
Yeah.
So the priest is called a father.
Yeah.
It's just they are the spiritual fathers, so to say. So I was growing up with them, and what I do is the Catholic church, where I was in India, in this boarding place, they have a lot of activities. They go and take
Right.
care of the needy. They go and visit the leprous institution. They go visit people in hospitals, and every holiday they go to the villages and
Right.
supply food, organize activities. When Christmas comes, you're going around to every house singing Christmas carols, and bringing goodies. And I used to play a very active role in all of this because I was good in my college days. I was good at dancing, and
Right.
I was also good at singing. So I was seen more as an entertainer more than an intelligent student. And so in that way, that a lot of people liked me. I was quite popular.
You had people skills, is
I
that
had
right?
people skills,
Yeah.
and that's the reason why even as an area director of human resources,
Yeah, that's so true.
to honestly tell you, my father actually wanted me to become a doctor, and that's why he sent me to India. I studied chemistry, botany, and zoology,
Goodness. Wow.
and of course, when after that, I did a postgraduate diploma in personal management, and industrial relations. So that's how I landed up in doing human resources work.
Wow, that is amazing. And that so just for you to share, what did you see in India that you did not see in Malaysia that changed you, the way you live?
Yeah, it's a completely different what do you say experience, living in Malaysia as compared to living in India. And of course, I'm talking about 1969 onwards, 1969 right up to 1982. So poverty, is
Poverty.
something that you see in your eyes everywhere. You see beggars everywhere, so you understand what is hunger all about, and you also understand what poverty is all about, and you can really see with your own eyes, the needies, the
Right.
people who are in need, all around your eyes. So you learn to value life as, when you come back to Malaysia, when you look at yourself and you say, I'm so blessed. I'm not saying the whole of India is like that.
Right.
What I'm saying is that I grew up in a small town called Trichinopalli, which is in South India, and in the place where I was living at that time, 1967, right up to those years that I'm talking
Yeah.
about, it's a completely different story altogether. You see all of this, and see that's when you learn how to appreciate life, and you develop some kind of a value system inside of you, a belief system inside of you, and that becomes the foundation of who you are. So when I came with that kind of background, going through all this, when I came to Malaysia, which I will say the land of honey, for me as far as
land of honey, yeah.
okay, you don't forget what you went through, and I had all of that always in my mind, and that helped me to become who I am, in Malaysia. All this came about, I believe, because I had the people skills, the experience that I had in India, how to deal with people and things like that.
Dad, just wondering, were you ever hungry? Left hungry in India?
Of course, let me explain, because the India story is a long story.
Yes, yes.
Okay, the one part of it is the high school.
Yes.
The high school, of course, you're in the boarding school.
Now
So
we're moving
boarding
on to
school,
college.
everything is given to you whatsoever. When I go to college, what happened was, even though I was in the Jesuit college, I used to live in a hostel.
Right.
And before that, before I got into the hostel, there was 1 year where I had to, rent a room somewhere.
Okay.
And before I can get into the hostel.
Yeah.
But the lifestyle was still the same. I go to church every
Yeah.
day. There are days that, my father sends money. As I told you, my father is not a rich man. So when he sends the money, sometimes you don't get the money on the regular basis. So there are days where I did not have money to eat, so I go hungry on breakfast. Normally I fix the dinner. I pay somebody to cook home cooked food for dinner. But breakfast, lunch, it was something that I had to have money to survive. And of course, the person that I eat the dinner, I pay them on a monthly basis.
Right.
So breakfast, lunch, sometimes it's a challenge. I don't have breakfast, I don't have lunch, so I know what hunger is all about. Sometimes I go hungry the whole day, but I can't wait for my dinner so that I can have it. So these are the type of experience that I've gone through in India.
So that you have shared so many experiences from your boarding school to your college experiences, and also what you have saw there that has really changed you. So do you have a role model in your life that you hold on so dearly today?
My father is my role model. My father wanted me to become a doctor, actually. And I was not smart enough to become a doctor. Neither was my father very rich enough to buy a seat. Buy a seat meaning, in India, if you want to get a medical seat, you have to pay capitation fees, which is a lot of money.
Right.
And my father didn't have that kind of money. And when, as I told you, I grew up in a Jesuit institution. When I finished my college, when I came back, my father was actually before I go to that, let me tell you, my father, when I was in India, he came so many times to India. And especially when I was during my college days, he used to come, and he loved me so much that, he used to go literally beg people, to give me a seat or find a way for me to get into a medical seat, And the amount of sacrifice that he did for me, not only for me, for my whole family, it is something that, I will never forget. And true enough that after I came back here, as I told you, I grew up in a Jesuit institution. I saw my father being a leader in the Catholic Church as well. He was the president of the Third Order movement. And he was doing the same thing. Sometimes I used to drive into the market, he will buy vegetables, he will buy meat, he will buy chicken, he will buy rice, and he will go and deliver those things, to the poor, because that's what the Third Order movement does. So I grew up, so he became my role model in everything. And of course, all of this is also based on, as I told you, I go to church 365 days.
That's a lot.
And as I said, I know I mentioned it a few times. That also developed my belief system, which is the Christian belief, in which is something that that is very strong in my value system, in whatever that I do.
Thank you so much, Dad, for sharing your entire story. I believe that, as you said, you are a fruit of all your decisions, and I think from all that you have mentioned, everything that has happened in your past has definitely shaped you as a person, and you brought that into the workplace as well. And I think without a doubt, God's hand has been upon you your whole entire life, throughout your whole career even. And of course, I am a beneficiary from that as well. So thank you, Dad, for opening up, for being transparent about your whole story. And I'm actually really excited because in the next episode, we are going to discuss about how to survive and succeed in a corporate environment. So I really hope that you have enjoyed this episode. You can watch it on YouTube, you can listen to it on Spotify, and remember that everyone has a pocket of wisdom to offer, and that includes you as well. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye!